On Geonosis, the Clone Wars began and the battlefield was set, as Obi-Wan Kenobi, his Jedi Padawan and Anakin Skywalker, and the newly deemed Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus locked blades for the first time. The first of many. In the duel, Anakin Skywalker approaches too hastily, and Dooku quickly subdues him with a blast of Force lightning, putting the young Chosen One in his place. Dooku then has a chance to analyze and lock blades with Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first time, in the end, ultimately being disappointed with what his own Padawan was able to achieve as a master, and systematically dismantling Obi-Wan Kenobi with a few precise strikes of the blade. But now, the task fell to Anakin yet again, and this was his opportunity. An opportunity to prove just how proficient he was with the blade, a prodigy just like Dooku, and perhaps could even be his better. In this moment, however, there is a very small key detail that I believe has been heavily overlooked, and that is the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi actively throws Anakin Skywalker another lightsaber to engage with Dooku. So why exactly was this? How did Anakin Skywalker's training perfectly play into this? How is this a potential weakness in Dooku's form that could have given Anakin the slightest edge against the fallen Jedi Master? And in the end, why did Anakin Skywalker still lose? Well, today, welcome back to our acolytes, weary students of the Force. We've been expecting you, as today we will analyze and break down exactly why Obi-Wan wanted Anakin to fight Dooku with a second blade, something that Dooku on multiple occasions referred to as a cheap trick. On the surface, this seemed like a very confusing decision for Obi-Wan to make. Anakin Skywalker had always trained with a single blade, and beyond this moment, Anakin would always just use one lightsaber, a sentiment which he actually agreed with Dooku on. As a Sith Lord, Darth Vader would later state that he believed that a true Sith Lord and a true master of the blade would only ever wield a single lightsaber, believing the rest to be unnecessary. And although he likely did not disdain this practice as much as Dooku did, he still agreed with him. In fact, years later, Anakin Skywalker would best Dooku with only a single lightsaber. So this raises the question, what was Obi-Wan exactly thinking here? Why did Obi-Wan believe that Jar Kai could actually be used to help Anakin best Dooku, or at least ward off the inevitable? What's fascinating about this is actually Obi-Wan's inner thoughts when dueling Dooku himself, as just like Anakin would later come to learn from their constant bouts with Dooku, Obi-Wan too garnered a lot of information from this small engagement. He realized that Dooku wasn't moving very much at all, and although Obi-Wan on a rare occasion pushed an assault, he realized that the very parries of Dooku appeared effortless to him. In fact, it could be said that after a few strikes of the blade, Obi-Wan was utterly aware of just how outgunned he truly was. During their one-on-one engagement, Obi-Wan realized just how foolish he was. He was playing into the greatest strengths of Form 2 Makashi, a form that Dooku dedicated his entire life and poured much of his very identity into. He realized that not only blade to blade was Obi-Wan Kenobi worse than Dooku was, but the very grounds of the engagement also played in Dooku's favor. Dooku could have cut down Obi-Wan in an instant if he wanted to, but Dooku wanted to see what Qui-Gon had trained. It could be said that Obi-Wan was even shocked and in awe by this moment of Dooku, a rare combat form by that point in time, as lightsaber to lightsaber engagements were exceedingly rare, and Obi-Wan got to see the master of the form, potentially even the greatest wielder of the form to have ever lived. Before they ever locked blades, Obi-Wan knew that Dooku used Makashi, but it was another thing entirely to see it right before his eyes. In the novelization, we get an inner thought of Obi-Wan Kenobi. He notes that every offensive maneuver of his blade misses entirely, and every single slash of Dooku nearly penetrates Obi-Wan's guard. Obi-Wan is not even getting close, and Dooku is throwing bullseyes every single time. The only thing stopping him from killing Obi-Wan is Dooku himself. As Obi-Wan lay on the floor defeated, about to be executed by Dooku, Anakin leapt into battle, and Obi-Wan threw a desperate plan into action, sending his lightsaber into the hand of the young Chosen One immediately. In the novelization, Obi-Wan goes on to say that he knew that Anakin Skywalker in no way was able to stand up to Makashi and Dooku. At the time, Obi-Wan considered himself the better swordsman than Anakin, as of course Anakin was just a Padawan still, an extremely skilled one, but Obi-Wan had first-hand knowledge and first-hand discipline at the hand of Dooku, and Anakin would not have done well. Obi-Wan knew that the counter to Form 2 would need to be chaos and the unorthodox. Makashi relied solely on blade-to-blade combat, meaning the opponent has a single lightsaber, and the Makashi wielder has one as well. Desperately, Obi-Wan throws another lightsaber into the mix, and Anakin is forced to use Jar Kai. Obi-Wan simply sent the other blade to Anakin because he believed that if he were to lose one, at least Anakin would have another lightsaber at the ready. In no way in Obi-Wan's heart did he believe that this maneuver would break Dooku's guard whatsoever, or even shatter, or even lightly shake his composure. Dooku was a hunter, he was a shark in the water, and he smelled blood. And in a desperate effort, Obi-Wan threw Anakin a life vest. It should be pointed out, however, that Anakin Skywalker did in fact know how to use Jar Kai, as it is highly speculated that although Anakin Skywalker used Form 5 as his main lightsaber form, he also had a passing knowledge in Nyman as well, which Jar Kai is based around. In fact, Anakin Skywalker would later even train Ahsoka Tano in the Jar Kai form, as Ahsoka, although primarily used Ataru, wielded two lightsabers, indicating that this was influence from Anakin's direct training. Anakin Skywalker studied Nyman because he believed that this would give him the best idea of the other forms, as Anakin, similar to Dooku, was obsessed with lightsaber combat. However, they approached it very differently. Dooku believed in using a single form, and Anakin was not above mixing and matching, adding even elements of his Ataru to his Gem So style, a style that would one day cut down Dooku, but not today. In the novelization, we also learned that Dooku deemed this a very sad and a pitiful attempt to shake him. In fact, it even comes off as Dooku deems this disrespectful outright. With that said, Obi-Wan Kenobi did not regret doing this at all, and even though Dooku was not impressed, Obi-Wan was. He was impressed with how quickly Anakin Skywalker was able to fall into Jar Kai, the smoothness and the composure of the form, and where Dooku saw a disgrace, Obi-Wan Kenobi saw potential. Was this the Hail Mary effort that ultimately stopped Dooku from killing Anakin and Obi-Wan? Absolutely not. That would arrive in the form of Grandmaster Yoda. But did the form actually buy Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan those crucial moments before the Grandmaster arrived? Absolutely. In the end, although Dooku deemed this unsportsmanlike and pitiful, Obi-Wan was correct. This also just goes to show how much of a teacher Dooku truly was to both Kenobi as well as Skywalker, teaching them so much about lightsaber combat without words, but by his simple actions. Dooku was an absolute master, and Obi-Wan and Anakin were literally learning at his feet. But anyway, my friends, and fellow acolytes of the Force, what are your thoughts on this desperate maneuver on behalf of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Do you believe that he made the right decision? And what are your thoughts behind his thinking? If you have any other questions about Star Wars lore you would like to see explored later, please feel free to request them in the comments down below, as we would love to look for more holocrons on the lore. And as always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.